Congregation back in 1997 voted on who they wanted to have represent God's divine love throughout the ages and people who danced to Jesus' lead, as we like to talk about it. And we wanted to make sure that we cast our net as widely as humanly possible and not just include Christian saints. So we have secular people, poets, artists, writers, philosophers, social scientists, architects, everybody up there. Bears, horses, wolves, tigers. And after they were elected, we got a local artist, Mark Dukes, to start on this project. I believe the first panel was the one right over the back there. This is the only place in the world, probably, that you'll see Malcolm X holding hands with Queen Elizabeth. That kind of sets the tone for a lot of this. And then as we've been able to raise money and such, we've been able to expand. We have 16 more saints to go. Once they're completed, we'll be doing another layer of highlighting. I hear this is an art class, so Mark Dukes would really want me to let you know that he uses all the traditional techniques of iconography, Byzantine iconography. He makes his own paints. And it's been a very slow, very expensive process. But we all feel that the work, the flavor of the work really inspires that. So, yeah, that's the starting place. Please look around if you've got any questions. Thank you. This is just coincidental, but uses the same type of paints as iconographers do, but does abstract landscape work with them. And is just one up. We have rotating art exhibits for most of the year, except for during holy seasons. The icon in the back wall was actually the first icon painted once the building was complete. This building was built in 1995, and this was done by the same artist, Mark Dukes. And our patron saint, St. Gregory of Nyssa, spoke a lot about the Song of Songs and how it was a marriage between Jesus the Christ and the soul. So that's what we see taking place behind St. Gregory and in front of the church. This is also one of the only icons in the world where you will see God portrayed as the loving mother-in-law in the purple. So that was his first icon here. In the most recent batch of icons that he did, St. Gregory was included. St. Gregory is the guy on the left hand of Jesus. And it's interesting to see the artist take on the same figure painted about 11 years apart. So.
And the water running from the rock?
The water running from the rock comes from, also St. Gregory wrote quite a bit about Moses, and that inspired our baptismal font, which is over here, and that's what that is a painting of, is our baptismal font with the water flowing from the rock. When Moses and the Israelites were traveling in the desert, Moses struck a rock and water appeared so that they could drink. Moses was so upset at the time he struck the rock twice, and that's what got him in enough trouble that he wasn't able to go into the promised land. So this is not the event he would probably want us memorializing, but yet we do find inspiration in it, and that's our baptismal font.
So then the baptisms would take place outside?
Our baptisms take place outside, and we sprinkle from the water there. Mm-hmm. Another piece of art you might want to check out if we're looking at this, if you guys want to come out here. This might be outside the realm of the class, I don't know, but our columbarium has a lovely picture of Jesus done in tile.
designed by Sasha Makowka.
I believe so. Yeah. And it's really funny. We were talking about, we don't really like the fence we have over there just with the mesh, so we were thinking about getting something more elaborate that would close this off completely. But right around when we were discussing that, lady came by to tell us how much she loves. She gets off work and takes the bus, and it drops her off down there, and she lives up here somewhere. And every night there's a light on Jesus there, and she'd stop, look at Jesus on the fence, and just spend some time in prayer. So we're so glad to hear that we're going to definitely keep the fence we've got.
This artist, Sasha Makowka, was a Presbyterian pastor, and he died about 2 years ago. And he visited our church in Sausalito a number of times, and he would bring his potter's wheel into the church and set it up on the chancel. And then while he was giving his sermon, he would be throwing pots and using that imagery for the basis of his sermon. It was pretty wonderful.
That's really cool.
It was very cool.
We have lost the translation for it, which is really horrible. We've been moving on our office, and I've been trying to find it since I started working here. But this is a rubbing from the stone that was found in China, and most of what it says, to my knowledge, is the name of people who donated money for the building of the church that this was found on. What was interesting about it was that it this Christian church predated when people originally thought Christianity had come to China by about 200 years. There are only 6 copies of this rubbing in the world. China does not allow very many to be made, but our church is sister church with the church in China, the Episcopal Church in China, and this was donated to us as a gift. So we can't wait to have a translation so we can talk about it a little bit more.
Can any of you read what it says at the top?
That's me? Christian. Yes. Daiso Keikyo is Kiristukyo. Kidokyo. Keikyo is Kidokyo. Christ. Keikyo is Kidokyo. The big Christ. Ryuko is movement. Ryuko is movement. And Chugokhi is China. China stone.
One of our 2 rectors speaks Chinese and Cantonese, I believe, and he's not around right now, but both of our rectors, he spends, his traveling schedule, once every 2 years he tries to make it to China, and then once every 2 years he tries to make it to the church in Ethiopia. So we try to keep a global connection with a movement in the Episcopal Church. I realize that you guys are Presbyterians, but movement in the Episcopal Church is to look back to Rome for inspiration. St. Gregory's, as a parish, as a church, keeps looking further east, and we're very influenced by the Coptic Church and the Orthodox Church, as well as the church in China. So. The animals? Part of what this icon was designed to represent is all of creation, celebrating God's work in the world. So we wanted animals in each corner of the wall to remind us that all of creation is in this dance. Right here we have St. Francis and the fierce wolf of Gubbio. The wolf of Gubbio was killing a bunch of people in the town of Gubbio until St. Francis went unafraid and told the gospel to the wolf, and the wolf repented and became a very good wolf. This is Saint Seraphim in Russia, and he became friends with the bear when, during Lent, when he had very small Lenten rationing. He ate very little during Lent. Bear came out of hibernation and was very hungry and couldn't find food, so Father Seraphim shared his Lenten rationing with the bear because the bear had no way to know it was Lent. And then there's Lady Godiva and her horse. Lady Godiva rode through town naked in protest to a tax that the Lord was placing on the peasants of her community. The part of the story that often gets dropped is that the person she was protesting against was her husband.